All right, now we're going to dive into the 321 James Clear newsletter on practice the soap opera of your life and the danger of choosing the easy path. Starting off with the three ideas from James Clear. Number one, whenever you are stuck searching for the optimal plan, remember getting started changes everything. Idea number two, strangely, life gets harder when you try to make it easy. Exercising might be hard, but never moving makes life harder. Mastering your craft is hard, but having no skills is harder. Uncomfortable conversations are hard, but avoiding every conflict is harder. Easy has a cost, right? Now, I like to talk about just like with an example when I was typing this out for the team meeting, something that kind of popped in my head was one thing that I was super in a routine of kind of late last year. I went through a traumatic thing in my life and ultimately I really just committed myself to going to the gym consistently every single week. I was going in 3 times a week or 4 times a week, working out, having, great workouts. What ended up happening though, I did it for a couple months, and then I went to Budapest for the company trip that I ended up qualifying for. And I worked out at Budapest. I came back and I stopped working out, right? And so I took the easy route, right? I didn't end up, continuing on with my commitment. And let me just tell you, my life got a heck of a lot harder. I just felt like I was weaker. I didn't feel as confident, and it was a lot tougher. But recently, I've been getting back in the gym last 3 to 4 weeks and getting back into my grind. So, ultimately, I know I can always say like the first week that you get into the gym, like, holy crap, I had like one workout, like where I did an upper body day. I could not work out for 3 days afterwards because of how sore I was. But I know after that first week, once you get past that, ultimately there's that success will come. Now, third idea, be forgiving with your past self. What's done is done. Take the lessons with you and release the guilt. Be strict with your present self. Win the moment in front of you right now. Be flexible with your future self. There are many paths to success. You don't need life to be a certain way to live well. Two quotes from others. Violinist Jashka Hyvish on practice. If I don't practice one day, I know it. 2 days, the critics know it. 3 days, the public knows it. Psychoanalyst James Hollis offers a harsh truth of life. After a lifetime of blaming others, it is exceedingly difficult for us to finally acknowledge that the only person who has consistently been in all the scenes of that long-running soap opera we call our life is us. And as a necessary chorale, chorale or corollary, that we bears some large responsibility for how the drama is turning out. I do not know what that word is. I would love to look that up in the dictionary. But one question for you. Life is always progressing to the next stage. As you enter a new season, habits that previously served you well may need to be refreshed or adjusted. Which one of your current habits have you outgrown and is in need of change? Okay, so I'll give you guys a moment to reflect on this question here, and then I'll open it up for some shares. All right, if anyone would like to kick us off, go ahead.
I guess I could start off real quick. I guess one of my current habits that is in need of a change. This is, I guess, a new habit that I'm going to, I guess, implement in my life. I'm gonna start going to jujitsu because that was a habit that I had, and then I got my tat, and then I kind of put it off, and then my tat took time to heal. So I was saying that I was gonna go back, and then I never really went back, and I finally am going back. So I guess I'm gonna just build it back up again. So
Good for you, man. Love to hear that. That's good. So, I mean, that's good that you're holding yourself accountable and you're being responsible and like, you've had that rest time and now you're, getting back into it. So, love to hear that. That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Who else wants to share?
Well, uh, I have a habit of procrastinating. It's a pretty big habit of mine, and I've had it for a long time.
Mhm.
And it's not the easiest one to stop doing, but I'm chipping away at it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I would say who doesn't, right?
Right.
I feel like everybody's guilty at some point of time, in their lives of being, procrastinating. I know that myself, like through school and everything, I'd always procrastinate work and stuff like that. Like schoolwork, I would be like last minute doing a deadline assignment and stuff like that. So definitely, I understand that, right? So just making sure that we do the right things, the right action steps, right, to make sure we're not procrastinating and having things that are important get away from us, right?
Right.
Opal?
I would say, honestly, probably, I kind of agree with like the procrastinating thing for sure. That's definitely something I could, a habit that I want to work on.
Absolutely.
Um, but I feel like there's like a few little different ones that are like smaller things, but procrastinating
Give
is
me one of them.
definitely.
Give me one of them. What's one of them? One of the small things that connects.
Um, I guess like organizing things, like when I come home, instead of just like dropping a bag that I had like filled for the day, like immediately cleaning it out and putting stuff away. That way it doesn't like start to build up and get my room like full of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I I'm guilty of that all the time. I could be working
Yeah.
pretty hard, and then all of a sudden, like my room is an absolute dog pit. So it's like there's just like clothes all over the place. I got dirty plates and everything. I'm an absolute slob sometimes, when I let that get away
Yeah.
from me. So I totally get that. So that's definitely a great
Mhm.
one. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Now, going into here, I'm going to be showing you guys an amazing Alex Funk video. The point of this is just to basically just up your guys' level within sales of selling the larger sets. Raise your hand if you kind of struggle a little bit with like the signature or ultimate set, kind of showing those and getting those sales. All right. Okay. So definitely this is going to give you some good keys. The person that did this talk is somebody that sold a crap ton of Cutco's made a couple of years ago. So the prices are different a little bit, right? But ultimately, it's the exact same concept that he talks about. It's brilliant. And the people that were in this team meeting that was recorded, they ended up selling like like Siggy sets after this talk, basically. And so this is a very good talk. So make sure that you guys get your pen, papers all ready to go and take some good notes.
Jared. Jared got started winter break a few years back, sold 15,000 in his fast start, sold another 15,000 the next couple of weeks. Jared sold over $100,000 his first year on the job. Jared then decided to take some time off, and he went and pursued another job. Then he realized, having a different perspective, hey, I miss a lot of the. And so Jared came back this last year. And so this last year was his first full year back in action. Jared is on our events team. He does sell in presentations like you all. He also does service calls. He does a little bit of everything. And last year, in 2022, Jared sold $180,000 at Cutco. So he made
So sorry, I was gonna just adjust the speed because it was just a little bit too fast. It was like Eminem rapping there, so I need to fix that.
15,000 in his fast start, sold another 15,000 next couple of weeks. Jared specifically to talk on service calls. I'm sorry, on signature sets. So I want you to pay really close attention to this. Listen to the language. Try and pull out the little nuggets to say this can make a big difference in my presentation, and we'll go from there. So Jared, the floor is all yours.
Sweet. How's it going, everybody? So I'm going to be talking about signature sets today. I honestly think I've sold more signature sets than homemaker sets, and that's just because I believe it's a better set than the homemaker. You get a lot more out of it for a better price, honestly. So four main key factors I'm going to be talking about today. The demo of like, what kind of knives do they have? How long have they had them for? How are they holding up? Do you ever have to sharpen them?
Did you guys not hear like a couple minutes there?
The
Okay.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't know what the I think it's just because I muted I was making a call and I muted my computer, so then I didn't have it over here, and so my
Number
bad.
2 is going to be creating value. Number 3 is price perspective, and then I have some key phrases.
Are we at the right
for you
point?
guys too.
Back up a
And
little
then
bit more.
lastly is just belief in it. More signature sets than homemaker sets, and that's just because I
Cool.
believe it's a better set than the homemaker. You get a lot more out of it for a better price, honestly. So 4 main key factors I'm going to be talking about today. It's number 1, creating urgency. Number 2 is going to be creating value. Number 3 is price perspective, and then I have some key phrases in there for you guys too. And then lastly is just belief in it. So number 1, creating urgency. Why should people buy from us really in the first place, whether it's a signature set, a homemaker set, or even a piece? Really, it's just selling yourself. And I think one of the biggest key factors into me selling signatures or anything at all is my goal sharing. So making sure you guys have really good goal sharing. I know Alex has a video of me on YouTube talking about goal sharing. I think that's a really good resource that you can use. Just making sure that you're talking about your goals within Cutco, what you're trying to sell, whether it's for, your fast start or for the push, or for like the month or for the year. Make sure you're talking about that. But also, I like to incorporate a lot of my other goals in life. So like I compete in bodybuilding. I always talk about that. Like buying my first investment property. And that's really getting people bought into you for who you are. Another big thing with creating urgency is making sure that you're asking the right questions, because sales 101 is whoever asks the most questions is in control of the conversation. So asking questions at the beginning of the demo of like, what kind of knives do they have? How long have they had them for? How are they holding up? Do you ever have to sharpen them? And sometimes these can be really good like pain questions. And when you're creating a pain point for someone, it creates urgency and them getting something that's going to work really well for them. So again, it's, how long have you had your set? What kind do you have? Do you sharpen them? Another really good question that I use is, have you guys ever considered upgrading your knives? It's not usually something that's on the top of people's priority, like their list of things to do. But I think when you bring it up and you create those pain points for people, they realize, oh yeah, we could use some good new knives. So have you guys ever considered upgrading your knives? And then creating value. So I don't know when you guys learn the 3-set close. I think it's in advanced training. Is that right, Alex? The 3-set close in advanced training. Okay, cool. So make sure you're showing all the sets, no matter what. Even if at the beginning of the demo, someone's like, I'm not buying knives today. Show everything, because you never know. I've had people who tell me at the beginning of the demo that they're not buying anything today, and then they end up buying a homemaker, a signature, or an ultimate. It's happened before. So make sure that you're showing everything, because you never know. But really with the value, are you guys selling on price, or are you guys selling on value? When people see the value, which you should be selling on versus price, when people see the value in things, they're going to buy it if it creates value for them. The price won't matter. So what is better in the signature set? Well, number 1, you get the choice between the steak knives or the table knives. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't want, a big steak knife. A good way to kind of get around that before it's even brought up is comparing it to the trimmer. What I found with selling signature steaks is that the steak knife is the most comparable knife to the trimmer. Now, the trimmer, Miss Jones, that's the most used knife in our sets, is the trimmer. So now when you have your steak knives, if your trimmer's in the dirty dishwasher, the dirty sink, you can go ahead and grab one of your steak knives and use it for the same thing. So not only do you get to use it for like a nice dinner, but you can also use it for, all around stuff, anything the size of your fist. It'll work great for. And then the 4 other pieces that you get in it, I think are the 4 best pieces. I use them all the time. Number 1, the super shears. Who doesn't use the scissors around the house or in the kitchen? Everyone does. I think everyone has 6 pairs of scissors just laying around, because most people's scissors are junk. Well, why not just have one really good pair that has one central location in your home, right there in the set with everything, because it fits in the block, which is great. Then you get the cheese knife. Guys, the cheese knife is the number 1 most sold knife that Cutco makes. It's the number 1 bestseller. Make sure you say that. That creates urgency and value in buying the signature set, because it comes with it, right? And then, make some jokes with it, call it the holy knife. You can only use it on Sundays. But also make sure that you emphasize that the cheese knife is not only used for cheese, but anything sticky or starchy. Not a lot of people cut block cheese anymore. A lot of people buy shredded cheese, right? So make sure, I call it the everything sticky knife. So anything sticky or starchy, Mr. Jones, whether it's cheese, apples, cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, anything like that. And potatoes, it's phenomenal on. Like, it's crazy how good it is. I think someone in our house cut up a whole potato last night with the cheese knife. I saw a bunch of potatoes laying around on the cutting board and the cheese knife next to it. Might have been Alex, I don't know. And then you get the 5-inch petite santoku. I call this the baby chopper. Now, Mrs. Jones, I don't chop babies, but it works great for everything else, right? There's a little fun joke with it. But the baby chopper, I like it a lot because it's just small, lightweight. It's my mom's favorite knife. I think once she upgraded from her homemaker to the signature set, the 5-inch santoku was the knife that she used the most.
It's also my mom's favorite knife. So if you guys want to tell your customers, hey, this is my manager's mom's favorite knife, you could do that too.
She uses it a lot more than the petite chef. And Mrs. Jones, the nice thing about having 2 chef knives in your kitchen now is if you and your husband or you and anyone else are both cooking at the same time, you don't have to fight over a chef knife anymore. Now you got 2 to work with. And then the Hardy slicer. So what's great with the Hardy slicer is I call it like the Grill Master knife. This knife is phenomenal for like cutting up cooked meats. I personally cut up, my cooked chicken with it every couple days. I like to tell stories with a lot of the pieces, just like, my mom using the Petite Santoku, me using the Hardy slicer. Stories sell, facts tell. So I think as long as you're telling them the facts of what it's used for and then incorporating some sort of story with it, I think that'd be great. People will buy into it a lot more. Another thing is creating an imagination perspective for someone. So throwing stuff out there at them like, hey, Mrs. Jones, imagine how nice it will be to get rid of all of your knives in your junk drawer and just have one simple block in one location on your counter. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, you never had to worry about replacing your knives ever again. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, you never had to worry about replacing your knives ever again. Imagine if, Mrs. Jones, every single time you pulled a knife out of your block, it worked like it was brand new every single time, over and over again. That would be great, right? Now, when you're telling them to imagine if, it paints a picture in their head of what it would be like to have it on their counter, and that creates a lot of value for people. If they think in their head, oh, I got to pull out these crappy knives and keep using them, but then if they think in their head, holy crap, I could have this nice knife block on my counter, and it's going to work great every time, I'm going to love that. You're selling them more on it. You're creating value. Also, emphasize that, for me personally, I'm able to emphasize this because I have sold more signatures than homemakers. It's like, this is the set that most of my customers buy. Not because it's more expensive, but because it's the best set that we make. Personally, that's what I think. And I think when you show that, it really creates a lot of value. It's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. I had a customer this last summer, John Adamick. He got 2 signature steaks from me, one for him, one for his business partner. A week later, his friend Nate called me, bought a signature set. I tried to sell him on the ultimate set, but he said, no, I want to do the same one that John did. And then guess what? The last week of this year, their other friend, Jeremy, called me and said, hey, we need a new knife set that's good. I heard you're the guy. I want to get the same set as Nate and John. And it took me 5 minutes and I sold another signature set like that. So it's just like keeping up with the Joneses. I think that as long as you present it that way, hey, this is the set that most of my customers do. I think a lot of people want to follow up with that, right? Then I got price perspective and key phrasing. When it comes to the price perspective of the signature versus like the homemaker, the homemaker is $14.19 and then it jumps up to $21.33 with the table knives or $24.13 with the steak knives. You guys, that is not a huge jump. You're getting 2 extra table knives and 4 extra pieces for like $700 more when all of the pieces range $100 to $200. And then when you jump up to $24.13, you get 10 big steak knives, so not the little table knives anymore. You get the big ones and those 4 extra pieces. So that's 14 extra pieces for only $1,000 more, 14 different ones. If you priced out, I think 10 steak knives and those 4 extra pieces, it's going to cost like around a homemaker set, right? So you're getting that much more for a really good price. And the 5-pay on it, if you guys sell on the 5-pay, it jumps from, what is it, $309 to $427 or $483. If people are already saying yes to the homemaker set and they're splitting it up, they can afford to jump up to that, right? Once you get someone to say yes to a certain price, it's not much harder to double it, if not triple it. And then I have some really good key phrases for you guys that you can use when you're closing. No, Mrs. Jones, Cutco is pricey, but you get what you pay for. And you will use this every day for the
Write
rest of
this
your life.
down.
I'll repeat that again. Cutco is pricey, but you get what you pay for. And you'll use this every day for the rest of your life. Mrs. Jones, what else can you spend $400 on a month that you will use every day for the rest of your life? Except you only have to pay it for 5 months. What else can you spend $400 on a month that you will use for the rest of your life and it only lasts 5 months to pay it? There's not much out there, right? You can compare it to like a car payment, which is, I think, like a brand new car payment is around there, like $400 or $500. And they're going to keep paying that unless they buy the car out or they get a new car. And that payment is always going to be there. Same thing with like a phone bill, same thing with like a mortgage payment. It's never going away, right? Unless they pay it all off, which is a lot more money than a knife set. And are you, typically using your car every single day? Not necessarily. Whereas you got to eat every single day. You're going to be using the knives every single day, multiple times a day, if you're cooking at home. Another one is, being very honest and open with your customer. If they're on the fence about it, you can be straight up and say, hey, if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. Most salespeople don't do that. Most salespeople are really pushy. If you kind of pull back like that, they'll be like, oh, wait, well, it's not going to break the bank. And right there, it tells you that they can do it. So offer, a better deal if they're like, if they say they can do it, if it's not going to break the bank, right? So if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. And then another imagine how much more enjoyable cooking will be when you have these tools in your kitchen. Imagine how much more enjoyable cooking will be when you have these tools in your kitchen. Everybody got that? And then lastly, I got belief. I really think that belief comes from getting use out of these things. If you don't own them, it's going to be, typically harder to believe in them. So I know on Vector Connect, you can order some of the pieces for a cheaper price, or you could always go through your manager maybe and buy it at a third. But get the scissors, get the cheese knife, get the 5-inch Santoku, and get the Hardy slicer. Use them in your kitchen. If you are doing in-person appointments, bring them and show them. But if you are just doing virtual appointments, get them in your kitchen, use them. You can pull them up and show them on camera. I don't have one of the pieces, but I keep some Cutco next to me so I can show it on camera. And I think it creates a lot more value when the customer knows that you actually have it too, and you actually use it too. And when you use it, you're going to believe in the product even more because you know how good it is. Cutco is the best of its kind. If you use it every single day, you're going to have so much more belief and confidence when presenting it to somebody as well. And just know it's possible. I think the reason I've had such good success from the beginning is because I sold a signature set in my fast start, and that allowed me to believe that it is possible. And I think, you can take, if you haven't sold a signature set, look in your chat. If someone else is selling it, you can sell it too, right? And I think the more that you do start selling signature sets, the more you believe in it, the more normalized it gets. Before I had even sold a signature set, I was like, damn, is someone actually going to buy this? And then someone did, and it was almost like, whoa, people do really, really do this.
Now, I'd just like to ask, because Mike, you're the most veteran man on the team in the room. Dion and Opal hasn't really had the same experience Wise with seeing all the sales that have happened, within our organization. But have you through the WhatsApp, have you seen since you've started a lot of people selling signature, ultimate, bigger set sales within the WhatsApp group chat?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and so
definitely.
yeah, so definitely. So it's pretty common. So he's just talking about that. I just wanted to mention that just because I know Opal and Dion, you guys haven't seen that as much because our team's kind of a little bit quiet right now, but that is something that is definitely it happens often.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it's
signature
important to
sets sold a
understand
lot.
that if other people are doing it, you can do it too. Just like, if Alex could run a marathon, I can do it too, right? So I just have a little bit of a call of action to you guys is number one, get some of the pieces if you can. If you can afford it, do it. Talk to your manager about it. I know there's a way to get some of them on Vector Connect and start using them every day because they are going to be the best knives in your kitchen if you don't have Cutco already. And then number two, is just who's going to be the first person to sell a signature set after this meeting. I'm excited to hear. So good luck to you guys. If you have any questions, I think I might have like a couple more minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
So I guess I'll just ask you a question. So like, do you use all those questions when going over like the sets and stuff with the customers, or do you kind of pick and choose which ones you do?
For like the key phrases.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't go, over all of them. I think it's important to at least incorporate one. And I think it's just kind of based on how the customer's feeling. Like, if the customer is like kind of sticker shocked, by the price, it's like, okay, yeah, Cutco is pricey, but you do get what you pay for. And, you're going to use these every day for the rest of your life. Like that's a good example that I can show. Or if someone's like very on the edge, you say, if you think it's going to break the bank, don't do it. And then they'll be like, oh, it's not going to break the bank at all.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other quick questions?
Yeah, real quick. How do you go about in like upgrades, for example? So let's say someone settles for the homemaker or something of the sort. How do you give the proposition of a signature, if you would?
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the 3-set close and they pick the homemaker set, they say yes. Don't try to upgrade them or upsell them until you get their credit card number, right? And if you know that they really liked like the cheese knife or like the super shears and stuff, and you haven't given any of that for free yet, be like, hey, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, when you buy Cutco, it's like Costco. The more you buy, the better deal I can give you. So, just for laughs, do you want to see what it would look like if you did the signature set instead of the homemaker set? What kind of a deal I can give you or more free stuff? I think that's some really good key phrasing that you can use, and make sure you do it after you get the card. That's a little bit more advanced, but sometimes if you do it before you get the card, they might just think you're being super pushy and they might not do it at all. I think it's happened to me once. But after you get the credit card, they're already buying it. It's not super hard to upsell them on something else like that. So I think did you get that key phrasing down? Okay, cool.
Thank you. God bless.
I think that's it. I don't know who's speaking next, or if Nick is still here.
I am. All right, let's give Jared a round of applause, everybody.
All right, so I hope you guys were able to take some good. What I love about this video is just he gives out so many just golden verbiage lines that you can be able he lists out certain different aspects of like objections, kind of, right, where it's like, okay, like if they're sticker shocked, right? What do you say? Oh, well, Cutco, it is pricey, right? But you do get what you pay for, right? You're gonna have these knives for the rest of your life. You'll be able to pass them down to your kids, right? Talking about that, and it's like, and then if they're saying like, oh, it's like they're like on edge and they're deciding on whether or not to get it. It's like you can just say like, hey, Mrs. Jones, if it's gonna break the bank, don't do it, right? And that's like if you say that, it's like then they'll kind of push back and be like, oh, well, it's not gonna break the bank, right? And they'll kind of go into like that, right? So I think there's some great verbiage, key phrasing that he uses, and that's awesome. So hope you guys are able to take some good takeaways. Can I get a thumbs up if you got some good takeaways? I saw you all freaking rock stars taking notes, so great work. I love to see that. So great work, everybody. Now, Mike, before I dive in the newsletter, I'd just like to open up the floor to you to just share some of your key takeaways from the SLDM event that took place yesterday with Deanna Scortino. I just wanted you to share just some of your key takeaways from Kevin and Deanna's messages and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So let me just grab my notes real quick. Where were you at? Oh man, you guys missed a good meeting. It was pretty awesome. Basically, she wanted to increase the level of standards that we have for ourselves. And so some successful tips that she gave was these are like changes that you can apply now. So phone time equals money time. Um, Basically, if like you can look at every phone call is like breathing. Like she said, like if she's not making calls, like she's not breathing. You know what I mean? So that was just one of the cool things. Like when it comes to like data, like if you're gonna like look back at data's only as good and as valuable as is compared to how long you've been doing it for. You know what I mean? So you don't want to compare yourself to anything else just for as long as you've been doing it. Then you can see to increase your progress, you know? So like if you only been working for a couple weeks, just go back a couple weeks, you know? And then she said, never nag or rise. So like if things are going up in successful trajectory, like for whatever reason, don't like downplay your success. You know what I mean? Like, let's see, discipline equals freedom. Um, so she said, do you know what you want? And does everyone around you know what you want? So that you're like putting your goals out there so that everybody knows. So that way you can hold yourself accountable. Let's see. Talk to more people. Um, oh, she said, like how often is your store open? You know, like do people know that you're like what your hours are? Do you have like a certain set of hours that you work for that's like always you're always open, you know? Um, let me see, never. Oh, I like this quote. She said, "Never take advice from someone that you don't admire." Da-da-da-da. And so also like whatever your push goal is, she said to increase it by 10%, and then increase your push goal by 25%. And so what that basically is doing is like you're holding yourself to higher standards, you know? So like if you're, let's just say it's like $10,000 that your push goal is, and you increase it by 10%, that's like 1,100 bucks, right? It's pretty easy little jump, but it also helps to increase your overall CPO and your sales. Um, and then let's see, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So let me see. Trying to. Oh, another good thing she said was to be the cause, not the effect in your life. So instead of just allowing life to you just going along with whatever happens, like to be the cause, you know, to take initiative and steer this co-experience where you want it to go, you know, because we can use this experience to change our lives, you know, change the trajectory of where we're going. And let's see here. Time efficiency she brought up. Um, see, so she said,
Round out with the one quote from that was at the end of her meeting, like at end of the message, the 6 month one. If
oh
you,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure. So, so 6 months of hardcore focus and alignment with your goals can advance you 5 years,
yeah,
so, which I thought was pretty amazing.
it was a
Like,
bar.
what's that?
I said it was a bar. When she said
Yeah,
that, Marcus Munoz said bar.
yeah, for sure. But if you think about it though, like really, like to grind for like 6 months straight without like any distractions and then really focus on your goals, you know, once you set your goals to where you want them to be. And if you focus for 6 months and just grind and grind and grind, I can see how that would actually advance you for like 5 years. You know what I mean? Because you could put money in the bank, you could all kinds of different things can open up for you.
Absolutely.
Um, when you're born, you look like your parents, and when you die, you look like your choices.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's about. There's a few more other things she said. Oh, this was from Kevin. He said it's the decision train. So it's basically
Oh,
like it says like decision, action, and feelings. And so you want your train to be driven by your decisions and not your feelings. Because if your feelings are driving your train, you're basically going backwards. You know, if your decisions are driving your train where you want to go, then you can actually get to where you're going to go. Your feelings, who cares about feelings? They don't make you money, right? um, Trying to think of what else she said. So it was a lot of good stuff that she said in there. I think I kind of covered most of it. Increase the quality of. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing.
all good. Awesome. That was
Yeah,
awesome,
cool.
Mike. So I appreciate you sharing that. The decision train's beautiful. I put that in the chat box, guys. That can be something that you can write in your notes. Decision, put an arrow to action, to put an arrow to feelings, right? The biggest thing is like that message that he's talking about is like, commonly a lot of people, they make their like actions based off of how they're feeling. right? And so that's a very bad way of going about things. So you should be making decisions that leads to action that then leads to having good feelings, right? So you don't want to have your feelings be, the front runner of your train, right? So that's brilliant. Awesome, Mike. So I appreciate you sharing those awesome key takeaways.
Can
Now,
I share one more thing?
yeah.
Because she brought up goals and she said, so like, do my goal mean so much to me that there's no chance that I won't hit them, you know? So like, if I make my goals so big that like, if it's like, I'm gonna, if I don't hit them, I'm basically gonna like, it's gonna be so devastating, you know what I mean? That I wouldn't be able to go on basically, you know what I mean? So to just hold yourself accountable, make yourself some big goals and take small action steps, every day to make those things happen. So thanks anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So I one thing to also say, like when from the one of your beginning takeaways I thought about when Deanna said, making phone calls for her is breathing, right? I know it's kind of extra, right? I mean, it's really not breathing, right? But at the end of the day, for her, it is. And for that attitude and that mentality that she has, that is how she has had 9 straight national championship trophies. Okay. She's going on to her 10th now because she treats phone calls as if it's breathing, right? So she is always on the phone anytime, like literally. If you go on like follow Deanna Scortino on Instagram, Cutco Queen, and you can like see she'll like post on her story about what she's doing in the day and stuff like that. And it's wild. Like that girl grinds. Like she'll drive to appointments. She makes 5 phone calls in the car. She will then do the appointment. She'll then drive to her next appointment, make 5 more phone calls. Like that's how she does her business. Like she is grinding all day long. And then at the end of the day, she's like, I'm done with work. I made my phone calls. I did my appointments. I'm done. Right. And so that's the 5-5 rule. And I definitely think that's a great thing for you guys to apply. Whenever you do a demo, make 5 phone calls before, 5 phone calls after. If you do that every single time you do a demo in the week, you'll never have to actually set out phone jam times where you're going to have to sit out for an hour to make phone calls, right? Because you're doing it as you're working, right? So that would be my recommendation. Do a demo, book a demo. It's a great mentality. Now, this is the Sponsor Me Summer Conference 2 sheet for getting sponsored to go to the conference for free. We have the SC2, the Super Bowl of Cutco, coming up this next week. So I'm super, super excited for that. It's going to be even bigger than SC1. So I'm really excited. An LA division is going to wipe the floor with SoCo. That is the plan. That's usually what happens with SC2. We take over the second half of the summer. Now, diving in here, these are the specific kind of details and stuff like that for the event with the address and everything like that. We'll be going to the Grand in Long Beach, California. The attendees will be getting a awesome hearty slicer, which is pretty fired up. It's just another signature piece to be able to have you be able to sell some more Siggy sets. And then this is just the game plan for leaving for the event. So if you guys want to take a little screenshot with your phones to be able to have that ready. But this is just going to be the plan. It's the same kind of thing as last time. We're going to, arrive at the office around the same time. We're going to have to leave pretty early, right? Earlier than other teams because we're the furthest away. But we bring the most energy, baby. So make sure to dress sharp. Definitely bring some stuff to write down some stuff and everything, and water and snacks and everything like that. And then there will be a plan afterwards for like a hangout get together for people that did not sell over 10K. And then there will be people that will basically then also go to the 10K dinner. So there will be like a VIP 10K dinner experience for anybody that sells $10,000 in the push period or had a 10K fast start. They'll go to that VIP dinner basically where Kevin takes you in a limo and everything like that, takes you to steak dinner, everything like that with the group. Now, this is some fire news right here. So I'll take some pictures of this. This is the Conference of Champions. They just released this in this week's newsletter, the details for the event. Okay, so this is the Conference of Champions. It's going to be hosted September 19th and 20th at the Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, and so this is a huge, awesome event, and it's different from the summer conferences in the regards of it's a region event. So it's basically everybody in the Western region, people from Hawaii, Washington, they're going to be flying to Vegas for this event, right? So literally my former district manager, Austin Overbillig, he's really close to getting the Cutco Hall of Fame with 10 million in sales. He's going to be at that event, right? You guys will be able to meet my former boss, right? And so it's a really awesome opportunity. We get to stay 2 nights at the Planet Hollywood. Meals are provided through the conference. They have an awesome dinner and everything. Everything's basically covered within the fee. Now, How the charges break down, it is 569 total for the conference if you're sharing a room with someone, basically, when you're paired with another roommate. If you want to have a solo room with no roommate, 819, and if you want to have a guest, it's $1,139. Now, there will be a push period going into it. So September 1st to the 20th or to the 20th will be the push date. So whatever is sold within that period, that is going to be the kind of the push period for that. And there will be basically the Summer Excellence Awards, like the Top Gun Awards and everything like that. Those are all going to be recognized there. There's going to be an awesome scavenger hunt too that they do, where we all get together and like do this freaking competitive scavenger hunt thing. I'm a super competitive person, so my team always has to be in the top three, regardless. But this is take a picture of this next slide. This is how you go to the conference for free. Basically, you can either sell. You have to sell. If you look at the bottom, it says 6 boxes. So you basically need to sell 6 of those pieces, like 6 of any of those pieces. You can sell 6 super shears and you're going for free, right? But whatever, if you sell 6 of those things, you go for free. Now, also, if you sell just a basic galley set, you go for free. All right. So if you either sell a basic galley or if you sell 6 of those pieces, you get to go to the Vegas conference for free. All right. And so definitely take a picture of this slide, make sure that you have this ready. And this is a great thing that you can be able to share with customers. Ultimately, if someone's really interested in like a galley set, right? If someone goes like with a galley plus 6 set, you can still write it off. And like, I think they'll still be able to give you the credit for it. But just make sure you just have to make sure that actually, if you get a galley plus 6 sale, it's assigned 9 boxes. So if you sell a galley plus 6 or a basic homemaker, you're going to have even more, and you might actually get a rebate of money because of the fact that you did that. And so that'll be great. That's going to be an awesome event. I'm really excited for it. It's literally my favorite conference that Cutco really offers because of the fact that it's just you get to meet so many great people. You're in an amazing atmosphere of Las Vegas, Nevada. You're with the most amazing people, Vector people, right? And we just take over, and it's a great, awesome experience, a great weekend. And so that'll be basically we go there Friday, we stay overnight Saturday, like to Friday, overnight Friday, stay overnight Saturday, then we leave Sunday basically, is usually what happens. Or some people leave Saturday night. But going into here, the top recognition for the top people over this last week. Top 15 representatives. We had Matt Graves as the leading seller, $32,000. Deanna Scortino right behind him at $28,000. And Brandon Brown's down here at $15,000. Still a lot of Cutco sold, but I think he's right now the leader of the push period currently because he had a crazy week this last week. Now, going into the team recognition, what's really hyped up, you can see our LA Showtime division absolutely wiped the floor with South Coast and Southland. So that is really fired up. We were the #1 division in the Western region. So round of applause for our LA Showtime division. Let's go. And then we had Ben Lee having an outstanding week. His team sold $46,000 as a team, really fired up, as well as Kevin Donahue's Pilot Office being a leader, $89,000 sold as a team. Now, going through the $1,000 personal sale recognition, and we have the pace setters on the newsletter. I'd love to see Michael Lamaster still hitting that $1,000, $13,000 pace setter. Out of all the different pace setters, I would say the $1,000 pace setter is the absolute best pace setter to try to go for. Trying to just sell a minimum of $1,000 in a week, right? If you do that, you're building up a good paycheck for yourself, and you're also just advancing yourself further within to the next promotion, right? Now, also people being recognized for their promotions. Last week, I don't think we had any the last week. And then this is the summer campaign All-American Scholarship Contenders, top 50 win scholarships. Currently right now, we have, it looks like kind of the line right now is 31,000. So if you're at 31,000, you're in the top 50. But you can just see right here, this person at 30,000, she's 52, right? She's just shy of the top 50. Now, going into the Top Gun awards, these are the awards that are given out in Vegas. Some of those awesome limited time K-bars, 1-star captain, 2-star major, 3-star colonial, and 4-star general. You guys will all want to look at the new representative line. That is what the line would be for you to be able to get rewarded that in Vegas. And then these are the the Conference of Champions trophy race for the top representatives over the summer, top CSPs, top assistant managers, as well going through for the teams as well. One thing I really want to see right here, I want us to get in the top too. I want us to be number one. I do not, I'm going to tell you, Nyan Preeter, he's closing his office. Okay. So what's going to happen? Nick Burns is going to fly up to number one. Eric's going to be number two. We're number three. Right. And so I want us to have a severe comeback, at the end of the summer and just wipe the floor with Nick like we always do. I want to take back the crown. All right. Because we are the better FFY team. So let's do it. Now, going through the summer campaign fast start record holders, it's pretty crazy. Almost every single division in the region has had a 10K fast start besides Hawaiian Islands and Oregon. But it's pretty crazy. Bay Area, $16,000. Grant had $11,000 in Southland. South Coast had a $10,000 fast starter. Pretty awesome. Now, also really want to shout out Macy Arnold. She's one person that's in our division. She's the top team builder in the region. She's referred 11 of her friends to the job that have all sold at least $1,000. And so she is right now one more friend away from going to Mexico City, all expenses paid. So it's pretty fired up just from referring friends to the job. She's winning herself a trip to Mexico City, all expenses paid. Pretty fired up. Now, these are the Western Region Phone Jam times for the next week. Same times, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. Saturday is 9 to 10:30 a.m. Definitely recommend within this overtime push period. Trying to get yourself in for phone jams is a great way of being able to set yourself up for success. Now, on the board this last week, we had Opal Lansky making some sales this last week. Want to give a round of applause for Opal. Great work, Opal. And then going into the top standings for the top 5 Central Coast champions, we have Michael Willman at number 1, $26,818. And I also have something crazy to tell you guys. Michael's got something brewing, and I'm excited about it. So he possibly, it's totally up in the air right now, but he could possibly be placing a 500 steak knife order for a business deal. And I calculated out the CPO just by without the discounts that he would give with the business deal, it's 43,000 CPO. So he could place that in one order for our team. And if that happened, we would smack everybody, which would be freaking fired up. But I would also just love for us to just build up a lead with all of our team members, contributing to it. And then if Michael Willen, if he does put that boomer in, we're kicking everybody's ass. So I would love to see that. I'll be dressing up like a pimp, black suit, black shirt, sunglasses. We're going to be looking great for the conference. So that'll be awesome. Now, going into the summer team meeting themes, we have the next team meetings just going to be hat night. We won't have a team meeting next week due to the conference taking place next week, but we'll have a team meeting following it, and will be hat night. So everyone will dress up in a hat. Now, diving in, closing out our team meeting for this evening, I have a little talk on effective phone time, how to successfully fulfill your demo goals. So I'm just going to give you guys just some good kind of keys to focus in on how to have good effective phone time, good way to kind of go about it. So outline of what I'm going to talk through in this talk: importance of solid goals and expectations, the ideal times to plan to phone jam, the mindset you want to have with phoning, and then scheduling during the fourth quarter and overtime of push. I'm going to give you guys some good key phrases and verbiage that you can be able to utilize when you're on the phone. And also, I'll give you some key tips to help you succeed with scheduling appointments. So, starting out, before I even talk about anything within phoning, I want to just talk about phoning is easy. All right. I want you guys to that should be just something like write that down in your notes right now. Phoning is easy. All right. Don't make it harder than it needs to be, right? You guys, I mean, each and every one of you guys in training, scheduled appointments in training really easily, right? You followed the script and it worked really well, right? And so overall, phoning it's easy, right? Now, the one thing I will say, the one thing that's hard with phoning is holding yourself responsible and accountable for doing it, right? And that's one thing that can be a challenge. But the actual concept of the action of making phone calls and, scheduling appointments, it's easy, right? You just have to follow the script, right? And sound bubbly on the phone, right? Sound like someone that they want to meet. Now, the solid goals and expectations: set goal, meet goal, right? So have a weekly demo goal, right? And each phone jam, create an expectation of how many appointments you will schedule. And the most important, follow through. Do whatever it takes, right? So, like, if you set a goal of 3 appointments for a phone jam and you schedule 1 appointment, right? That's not good. Like, you're letting yourself down in that situation, right? So you want to, whatever goal you set, you want to just hit that goal. Now, one thing that my manager and I always focus on whenever Austin told me like a certain goal that he held me accountable for, he's like, "Hey, Ryan, I want you to schedule 4 appointments, right, for this phone jam." I would schedule 6 appointments, right? I would go above and beyond what he told me, right? And that's something that, is amazing. If you do that, you're going to have exponential growth, right? And so I highly recommend overshoot. Now, be organized with your phone jams. Make sure to plot times throughout your week that are dedicated to scheduling appointments. It's pretty simple, but like whatever calendar form that you're utilizing, whether it's Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, or just a plain out paper calendar, right? Make sure that you are blocking out the time, just like we did in training, right? Block out the time when you would be doing a phone jam, right? Say, hey, this time right here, I'm going to be attending the Zoom for 30 minutes to make my phone calls, right? 45 minutes, whatever it takes, put that down in your schedule. Make sure that it's in so you don't, miss it. Now, the ideal times to phone jam. 6 to 9 p.m. any day of the week is ideally a great time to call people, right? Typically just because they're out of work, it's going to be probably easier to get a hold of them because they might be just winding down at home, taking care of the kids, right? And so this is a more likely great time to get a hold of them. Now, also, it's also a good time that maybe both spouses might be at the home, right? And so then scheduling the appointment with both spouses can be really easy in that situation. So I would say 6 to 9 p.m. any day is the best time that you can call, all right? Now, 9 to 12 p.m. any day. Friday, Saturday morning is suggested, but 9 to 12 p.m. any day is a great time to be able to call as well because some people are just getting started in the day, right? But just kind of rotating it around, right? Now, 12 to 4 p.m. on a weekday, it's kind of hit or miss, right? So I would avoid kind of calling in this time, but it's not that I don't say don't do this time. I just say I would focus more on the 6 to 9 and 9 to 12, maybe once a week going and calling at that time, right? But that's more of a hit or miss, right? So, and the mindset with phoning, okay? Motivated to hit your goals, right? Don't let rejection put you down, if there is any, right? It's really rare that we get on the phone with someone when we're following the script. It's pretty rare for them to say no, right? Because all we're really asking for is their time, right? And so it's kind of hard for them to say no. I mean, it does happen, right? But overall, for the most part, it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, don't let that put you down, right? Just move on to the next one, right? There's going to be another person that's going to schedule with you, right? Now, smiling and sounding excited, right? One big thing, right? People can hear when you are smiling, right? And so I highly suggest when you're on the phone, be smiling, right? Sound excited, like, have the energy, right? You want to have that impression, be like, they want to be excited to be able to meet you, right? And so have that tone so that they have that excitement leading into the appointment. Now, if someone doesn't answer, shoot them a text to follow up with them, a text to follow up with you, call them at a different time, right? And so I definitely suggest, if they don't answer that text, just call them, right? And just don't let it, fester for 4 days and then you call them. Call them the following day, right? Because you're letting them know it's important to you, right? Now, scheduling during the fourth quarter and overtime a push. Here are some keys for you guys when it comes to scheduling during this time period. Now, I went on the phone. You should be extremely excited, amped up. Woo! It's go time, baby. All right. Now, the key phrase: I am in a huge contest and I'm working extremely hard to hit my goals. I am working hard to schedule blank appointments by next Wednesday in order to hit my push appointment goal, right? So that's something that you will want to say to your customers when you're on the phone, or write that down or take a picture of it. Now, the volume of phone calls is huge, guys. Calling different times, sending a text, going through everybody, and I mean everybody on your list, right? Now, I've told this story before. Some of you might have heard this story, but in my second branch summer, it was going into my senior year of college. In the month of August, branch managers get to sell at what's called flat 50. So you basically get 50% commission weekly off of what you sell, which is a luxury because CSPs don't even get that. So the branch managers at the months of August and September, closing out the summer, they have the opportunity to sell at flat 50. Now they also, when they sell, they can also qualify for a trip to whatever the manager trip is going to, right? And so I had the opportunity my second branch summer to win a trip to Madrid, Spain. Now, my first branch summer, there was a trip to Dublin, Ireland, and I did not qualify to that, right? And so I was super mad that I did not get to go to that, right? I was short. I didn't put forth the effort. I was lazy. I'll come out and say it. I was lazy. I did not put forth the effort. I didn't make the phone calls. I didn't do what I needed to do, right? I ended up selling $7,000 or something like that, but it was 3K short of what I needed to hit for my push goal. And it's like 10K would have got me the trip. I didn't do it, right? And so it was really disappointing, right? But going into that second branch summer, I told myself there's no way in hell I'm not going to win this trip, right? And so I ended up going out, and my mentality was I was just going to set out hours of phoning, right? So I literally would sit down for 2 hours and just call like constantly. And in the 2 hours, I would make like 100 phone calls, right? There was one time where I sat down for 2.5 hours, made 100 phone calls. I scheduled like 2 appointments, it was 1 or 2 appointments, right? The following day, I ended up getting 6 appointments, right? Because of my efforts that I had in that day, right? And so when I say volume of phone calls is huge, it is huge, right? So whatever list that you have within your initial list, you need to make sure that you're queuing everybody, right? On your contact list, you need to make sure that you just got everybody queued, set out the time, and just call through everyone because, we can't control how many people pick up, but we can control our reach outs and how many shots that we're taking, right? So that's the biggest key. Now, to target the best type of HM30. Oh, and I forgot to end the story. I ended up selling $10,000 for the push, and I ended up getting my trip to Madrid, Spain. So I was fired up, really hyped up about that. But target the best type of HM30 customers that you can, right? So you want to try to, especially with it being the fourth quarter and overtime, you want to make sure that you're trying to get really quality appointments, right? So making sure that you're kind of like prioritizing people. I would rank out your prospects just like you did in training. So go through, like if you still have people in the initial list. I know you can't really rank out recommendations unless you've built rapport from them when you ask the questions about them, right? But really try to dig in and find the best of the best people. So you're getting those people in front of you before the push, right? Now work as hard as possible to maximize these final days, right? Get the recognition that you deserve and that our mighty Central Coast Champions team deserves in this summer conference number 2. All right. One thing I was super sad about, guys, you all three of you were at the summer conference number 2, right? Or number 1, right? And for the first time in my manager career, I didn't step on stage for my team, right? And it was really sad because ultimately the 6K was the line. We were just under 6K for the push, right? And so it was really disappointing to see that. And I want us to bounce back. And what a hell of a story would it be if we were not even recognized in SC1 and all of a sudden SC2 were number 1. That would be amazing, right? And we would really, I mean, it'd just be outstanding. It'd be a hell of a story, right? So let's make that story happen. Let's write that story. Now, key tips for scheduling appointments. Weekly standard to reach your goals, 2 to 3, 30 to 45-minute phone jams in your schedule, right? Now, the substitute to this, if you don't want to schedule out those 30 to 40, I think this is pretty simple to plot out 2 to 3 blocks of 30 minutes in your schedule is not that hard, right? But you can substitute with the 5 before, 5 after, book a demo, do a demo, book a demo, right? And you can be able to minimize that where you're maybe only doing one phone jam, right? Now, practice the phoning script and become confident with the approach. Don't wing it, right? One thing that can happen, right, when you start doing this job more and more, what can happen is you start kind of getting overconfident in yourself, right? You put too much dip in your chip, right? And you start getting too confident, right? And you start kind of thinking, oh, I think I can get off the script and not read my script anymore, right? Let me just tell you, it never happens. It never works out very well when you fall off the script, all right? Now, just for me personally, like I was a representative for years. I still, like a year and a half after I started, I still was reading from the script, right? And so like I want you guys to understand, like don't try to wing it. Stick to the structure that works. We have a wheel that works. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? Now, don't settle for anything less than your phone jam appointment goal. When you set a weekly expectation or goal for appointments with the manager, best thing to do is overachieve, schedule more than your goal. I had just mentioned this earlier, right? But anytime Austin gave me a goal, if we sat down for a PC and he said, I want you to set out 12 appointments, I would book 14, right? I would go above what he told me to do, right? Overachieving, it's great because what ends up happening, maybe a couple of those cancel, right? I'm still getting my 12 appointments in, right? So that's the big key thing with it. Now, that is the end of my phone jamming talk. Now, I just have this picture here of kind of what it looks like breaking down of going into the SC2. Now, SC2 is on August 13th, not August 14th, so you just kind of move it back a day, basically, right? But basically, we're right now currently in the third quarter, end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter overtime. All right, so this is the most important time of the push. This is one of the biggest things happen. Now, I will say, like ultimately, from this push period, there's going to be some people that will stand out, and there will be, some offers for an interview for the Leadership Academy that will be going through the fall. And so that will be basically where you're able to kind of learn some great leadership skills, great for your resume, basically, and you're able to gain some great leadership skills, get a management position possibly within our Central Coast Champions office. You can be able to start getting paid based on our total office sales as well as your personal sales, right? And so, what you do in this push period, it can earn you a spot to be able to get an interview with Kevin Donahue to be able to join our TLA during the fall. All right. Now, to close out the team meeting, our vision of the Central Coast.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to ask a quick question
Yes,
about
sir.
that goal that if you go back a couple slides, it said SC2 is on the 14th. Is that
13th.
correct?
Yeah, I already said that. Yeah. So it's on the
Okay.
13th, not the 14th. Yeah. It's just this is from last year, so I just used the same thing from last year, but it's kind of the same. You just move the days one day back, basically, right? So, but yeah. Good question, though. Now, no, our vision, be the number one first full year district organization in the Western region 2025. Want to maintain the number one crown against Santa Monica. The goal is to sell $450,000 in sales in 2025. Staff by the summer, end of the summer, trying to have 5 assistant managers going into the fall with 1 sales manager. Total new representatives, having 200 new representatives for 2025. Now, our summer vision this summer, we want to be top 2 in the first full year district office in the Western region. We want to win back that number 1 crown against Nick Bird's Santa Monica team. And of course, absolutely demolishing Abigail Legaspi's Mission Viejo team. It was so much pain to be able to see her on stage and I wasn't on stage, right? That we can't have that happen, all right? $250,000 in sales in the summer and the staff for the summer. Again, 5 to 6 assistant managers. Now, how can you help the team? Consistent sales, hitting your goals, having good attendance with team meetings, events, and conferences, recommending friends of the team, sending 3-way text to friend and me, helping out on campus, finding new members for our team. That'll come a little bit more in the fall. Don't sell for nothing less than your best. And then we have social media story posts. So really quickly here, I'm going to send out just a couple of things to you guys in the chat. By the way, Opal, I really appreciate you from last week because we got a ton of applications from your story posts from last week. We got like, I think 4 applications from your friends. So I'm right now going through and scheduling them. That's what I was doing during the video. So it's fired up. So I really appreciate you doing that. I'm going to send through just the basically what you can put down. There's 2 different things you can do. You can either make it really like broad, looking for a job with flexible hours, just have the application and tag me on it. So then if they have any questions, like questions, contact Ryan Thane. Or you can put down like what I put down in this chat here, where you're basically, giving kind of more of a description of what it is. Either way, it's totally fine. But I really appreciate you guys doing this. We're really trying to build our champions team up so we have some of the right championship players for our team. So if I can be able to have, 5 more Deons and 5 more Opals on my team, would love to have that. So that's awesome. All right. So I'll give you guys a minute to do that, and then we'll close out the team meeting. Oh, I have to call my Grams. She called me. We share the same birthday, so I have to celebrate with her on the phone. Here we go. All right, so let's crush this final half of push, guys. I again thank you guys so much for taking the time tonight for team meeting. And don't have to worry about PCs really. We've already gone through all you guys have done SC2 PCs, so I just kind of want you guys to be focusing on the goals that we kind of set out for yourselves. But I appreciate you guys for putting up those posts and everything like that. I'll plan to talk with you guys later.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Later.
Happy birthday. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Hey Ryan, I have a quick question.